in fact, until the British or the Europeans came to Africa, we were already having our established financial system and had a currency that we're using for trade. In fact, historically, when it comes to trade and transactions in Africa, what easily comes to the minds of people is barter trade. But people don't know that we actually had a well-established monetary system that was running in Africa, and that was the cowries. But even up to today, certain African tribes are still using cowries as a mode of payment. In fact, especially my tribe, the Dagaba, they are still using cowries as a mode of payment for dowries. Whilst we're still using the cowries as a mode of payment, but then in 1796, the first monetary coin was introduced in the Gold Coast. It was used exclusively in the Gold Coast alongside the cowries and then gold as well until 1901, where the status quo changed into a different monetary system. So now let's find out the philosophy behind the adoption of the cowrie to become the currency of Ghana. After the Europeans invaded the continent and then we had the Gold Coast, what was being used was the British pounds. And for the British pounds was used basically in the British colonies. After independence in 1957, Nkrumah decided to change the name from British pounds to the Ghana pounds. But Nkrumah seems not to be satisfied with how that we still have British tied to Ghana, which didn't look to be autonomous. But Nkrumah wanted a total emancipation, total independence. He wanted everything about the country to predate whatever had a connection to the colonial master. So in 1965, Nkrumah wanted to have a currency that synchronized with the Ghanaian culture, philosophy, and traditions. So they then look out for a name that will drum home this particular philosophy. Therefore, Nkrumah then adopted the name Cedi. In fact, Cedi is a cult name for cowrie. So now let's see the vision behind the adoption of the name Cedi. After independence in 1957, Nkrumah wanted Ghana to have a truly indigenous identity free from colonial symbols. So when introducing a new national currency in 1965, he replaced the Ghana pound with the Cedi, reviving the traditional name rooted in Ghana's own history and trade. But after introducing the Cedi, Nkrumah was making a powerful economic statement, and which indicated that Ghana wanted to have an autonomous economic financial system that was devoid of a foreign influence. And with that statement, Ghana or Africa was capable of managing its own affairs. So now let's see the reason behind the adoption of the name Cedi. But the name Cedi was symbolic. It connected Ghana's modern financial system to indigenous economic history, but it also promoted a sense of national pride and independence. Once we were independent, there was no need having anything that had a colonial connection. But this was the effort Nkrumah put in place to ensure that we had a full independent economic system that was running. And he succeeded. And even after today, that legacy is what is still on. The introduction of the Cedi in 1965, in fact, during that time, Nkrumah's picture was on the Cedi notes until somewhere after he was overthrown. Then the whole system was changed. But then the name Cedi still remained until 2007, when the Kufuor's government decided to change the name from Cedi to the Ghana Cedi, which we have used up to today. In fact, this was necessitated because of the high inflation. But during that time, and for the inflation was so high that to just buy a simple good, you need to carry a lot of money. For those of you who can remember, the figure 20,000 was actually a lot of money to carry. Until then, we had the Ghana Cedi, which arguably solved the situation. Then a lot of people now want to know how we got the name Pesewa and how that it became part of the Ghana's currency. In fact, the Pesewa is the account word for the 1/10 of a cowrie. So if you look at the adoption of the Pesewa, but Nkrumah wanted to decimalize the cedi, that's the cowrie. So in breaking it down, 1 cedi equals to 100 pesewas, which match perfectly with the meaning of pesewas as 100. But that's not all. There is actually a symbolism to using the pesewas. So let's look at the symbolism attached to the use of the Pesewa. So when you look at the Pesewa, just like the cedi, choosing Pesewa connected modern Ghana to its indigenous trading heritage. It also made the currency system culturally relevant, not just a colonial carryover. You see, so this also helped to delink that connection with the colonial system, but have an autonomous financial system that was purely Ghanaian. Beautiful. So now tell me at the comment section, what do you think? Do you think that Nkrumah made a mistake by introducing something that was a currency that was that's synchronized with the Ghanaian tradition and culture? Or you think Nkrumah should have stayed with the colonial masters currency by using the British pounds, but other African countries have actually remained with the colonial masters currency? So do you think that was a bad choice? Let me know this at the comment section.